Okay, it's time to reassemble. We've got everything cleaned. As you can see, the inside of this is not green anymore. I cleaned that all out real nice. You shoot carburetor cleaner up in each one of those holes, and it'll shoot out someplace else in the carburetor. You shoot it down into the choke area. Clean this area out with that adjustment screw, as I've got that back in place already. And then you go up into your bottom of your carburetor, this little tube right here. You squirt in it, and there's real fine little holes in the side of this thing. Make sure those are cleared out too, so that the cleaner will come out those holes. I ran it down the inside of the idle, inside of the main here, and inside of this where the fuel shutoff is at. And then also in these other bigger holes in the carburetor, one right there and there. Any place there's a hole, shoot carburetor cleaner in it. And then blow it out with compressed air. Be careful that you don't, if you do it like this, this is completely disassembled. But be careful when you're using compressed air, because you can sometimes miss something, or something can stay on it. Like this right here, there's a washer on the end of this. And if you use compressed air, sometimes you can blow it off, and then you lose it. And trust me, I've done that already. So be careful with the compressed air where you're at. So now we're going to put it back together. And the first area I'm going to do is I'm just going to put this, I wish I knew what these were called. And then we're going to screw that back into place. And we'll take our, what size is this? 8mm. Put that up on there. Put that into tightening mode. And now you just tighten it. This is all brass into aluminum, or brass into brass. Most of it's brass into brass, but you just tighten it. You don't have to crank it. Now we just put this seat, I don't know, it regulates the fuel to your carburetor. It's a shut-off. Just screw that down in there like that. Switch sockets to a 10mm and put that on there. Just tighten it, okay? And then you take your little needle valve, drop that down in the hole. That's done. Now what we're going to take is this float regulator here, and that pin that we popped out that I almost lost, we're going to slide that back in these little stanchions that stick up here. So not too difficult. You just stick that in there like that, get it go through both holes, and push her in there good and tight, and that does it. Now we got your idle jet. Well, that was my culprit. It was plugged on the inside of that jet. So we drop that back down into the hole like that there. Make sure it looks like it's seated properly. Take your screwdriver and gently make sure it screws in with no resistance. And then you just barely snug it up. That's all there is to that. Okay. Now we got our main jet that screws back into whatever that is. You just screw that back into place, and we will tighten that. That uses a, let's see, this was a, what size was this? 14mm on the bottom there, and then this was again I think it was a 6. Yep, 6mm. So we'll just snug it up like so. And you got it. Now we take this and this goes into the bowl. And you take your bowl and so you can see what I'm doing, and you screw that back in to the bowl like about there. Take your 14mm, snug it up like so. Now we take our bowl, and you have to orient it You can see it's got this little recess down in here at the bottom. That coincides with where your float stanchions are at. And you just kind of set that down in place. Be careful, there's some other tubes and things that go in there. Just gently push it down in there. Now there's that little O-ring that I was talking about right here. And what is a kind of a good idea is to get a little bit of I don't know if grease would be good to use on that or not, because I don't want to ruin the O-ring, but it does help it to slide into place. But if you just kind of maneuver it and kind of wiggle it, it will go up in there like that. And anyway, that's basically how you do that. Get this bowl to sit on there like so. It's still not seating. Let me take and put a little bit of grease on that. Okay, we got to put a little bit of Vaseline. Yes, it is Vaseline. It's always good to have a jug of that and jar of that in your shop. Different things. Anyway, you slide that bowl down over it, and that helps that rubber O-ring. See how that just slides right into position now. And you just attach your 4 screws, and you have one rebuilt carburetor. So that's how you do that. I'm going to put this back together, clean the other one, and then I'll show you how to put it back on the machine.